Parashat Pinchas. There is a very old song that I don't particularly like by Billy Joel. You know which song is that?
Honestly.
Very good. But this one, it goes like this. Jealousy is such a lovely word. Everyone is so untrue. Jealousy. Be zealous. Everybody likes to think that they're zealous. And that's what I want to concentrate today on Parashat Pinchas. So the beginning of Parashat Pinchas, in a way, is just a continuation of last week's parasha. It's like in TV, they have part 1 and part 2. That's part 1 and part 2. When Parashat Balak, when we talk about the daughters of Moab, when Bnei Israel did whatever they did with them, and the avodah, the idol worshipping of Peor. So that catastrophe, reached its climax when Zimri did the horrible thing, and then he, on top of that, Cheref vegidef, as we learned today in the Sanhedrin, he cursed and he blasted at God, and he did also to Moshe Rabbeinu, and it's a really a horrible thing that he did. He did it publicly to the eyes of the whole people, and especially the great people of Israel. So comes Pinchas, and he, what we call Mekaneh Kinat Hashem. He became zealous to Hashem, to the honor of God that was desecrated. He does the din to himself. I mean, he takes the quote unquote the law to his hand, and in a way, he's doing this din, he's doing this judgment to Hashem, but he's doing so by, he's taking the liberty, so-called, and actually killing that person who was Mecharef or Megadef, Zimri, that really was chayav more because of the way he blasted at God, less of the action that he did, but that was the main thing. And the beginning of Parashat Pinchas, it says that because of that action, that he came in with a spear in his hand, or the bayonet, or whatever he had over there, to him and to his descendants, what is giving to him is Brit Shalom, a covenant of peace with the God of Israel, which is very, very bizarre. Here the guy is killing somebody and you're giving him peace. It's, kind of contradicting the action. So this zealous, this real fanatic, what we call, with his zealousy to Hashem, is not preventing himself from spilling blood, from killing people. He's the one who becomes the person of, not interest, the person of a covenant of peace, and that kind of it's a kind of contradiction that both of them live within the same person, and it's quite peculiar. How is this possible? Why was it given to it, and so on and so forth. We could also say that we learn from this that a person is not allowed to become a zealous and to do actions of that such, unless it's because he's very fanatic or very zealous and so on and so forth. Unless, of course, he is a person that is appropriate to become an Ish Shalom. And it's so difficult to understand. How is this possible? How is this possible that a person could do so? A person of peace and harmony can actually do such an act. And if we say what is an Ish Shalom, a person of peace, is first of all a person, shalom milishon shalem, whole. That a person like this is complete, is shalom, he can stand in front of God and men as well. And only if he is complete, he's okay, is with God and man, he could take so-called the din to his hands and the judgments to his hand and so-called execute a criminal like Zimri was. And this is very difficult because we need to understand, because I think that many times throughout history and so on and so forth, we attach our concept of zealousy on the act of what Pinchas did, instead of really understanding, first of all, who the person is. And as a result of that, like most of us, like we always do, we always copy. And we think that a person gets the title. If somebody tells you, oh, you're a kanai, right? You're a zealous, or you're a fanatic. Ooh, you're right, you feel good. And right, not fanatic, you know what I'm saying, not that kind of fanatic, you know what I'm saying, right? Oh, kanaiata. Oh, yes, I am. I throw rocks at people. You know, I scream Shabbos, Shabbos. I throw rocks at people. You know, doesn't make it. You know, I burn tires and garbage dumpsters and garbage dumpsters and rolling down the hills of Jerusalem. The Gewalt, and everybody. You go home. Okay, I pay my dues to society. I'm a zealous guy. Baruch Hashem. That's a very dangerous mahalach to be. Not understanding that concept of Pinchas could lead us to become, zealous as the Crusaders were, where they butchered and raped and killed and burned anything that came their way. Or we could be zealous like those, guys who wear the pajamas and all. I've seen it a lot in New York lately. All these pajama wearers, I went to pick up. Who did I have to pick up? Somebody from the airport. I forget. I went to the airport for some reason. To get my global entry. I was like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm in Afghanistan. Everybody's wearing black pajamas. I was like, what's going on here? Those kind of guys. Those hajis like this. That don't really like our freedom. They like to blow themselves up in the name of God. They kill people in the act of God. They blow airplanes in the name of God. They're doing exactly that. This is a very dangerous a place to be if you don't really understand. You are doing exactly the opposite of what God wants you. And you have to be careful. Even if it means, yes, there are some Jews who like to do this as well. There are other ways to do so. And if you want to get rid of certain elements in the land of Israel, fix your acts, pray to God, be a person of emunah, and we'll see it, and then they'll go away. However, there's no justification to go to beat up a kid and then burn him, like happened a few years ago, and so on and so forth. We don't do those things. Judaism zealousy is not like everybody else. And we need to understand that. Not understanding could make you into a horrible criminal. And so therefore let's understand exactly what does it mean to be a zealous and to be a Jew and so on and so forth. So that zealousy of a person, of a human to God, that because of that leads him to do very severe things, is, as we said, it could become very problematic, as we saw in different religions and so on and so forth, and also from a religious point of view, not only from a legal point, from a religious point of view. Sometimes the actions that people do is completely against what Judaism is all about. So let's see who is allowed to become a zealous, a kanai, and who can take this right to do so, to act upon with zealousy. So the pasuk says, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. Pinchas, which I always think is really an Egyptian name, because that Pinchas is really sounds Egyptian. Pinchas, Tanchampas, and so on and so forth. Who knows? Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen, without getting why this says like this, Yeshiva chamati me'al bnei Israel, come my anger from Am Israel, bekan'o et kinati betocham, when he was zealous for me, kinati betocham, velo chiliti et bnei Israel bekinati, and I did not wipe out the Jews with my anger. לכן, therefore, אמור, say to him, הנני נותן לו את בריתי שלום, והייתה לו ולזרעו אחריו ברית כהונת עולם, תחת אשר קינא לאלוהיו ויכפר על בני ישראל. And because of that, he's going to have eternal covenant of peace to him and to his descendants, because he atoned for the sins of Am Israel by doing a certain act. So that gap between the act of, the violent act of zealousy, and between that, what we call Birkat Shalom, as we said, many people, if you look, everybody struggles with that. Why and how and so on and so forth, which is a tremendous paradox, as we said before, as it is. As Chazal tells us. Rabban Gamliel, when he was fixing up Tfilat Shmona Esrei, was the davening, he's did Shmona Esrei brachot. Right? So he was the Braita tells us in the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan, Shimon HaPekuli, he's dir 18 bachot, לפני Rabban Gamliel, Shimon HaPekuli arranged those 18 blessings before Rabban Gamliel, Al HaSeder BeYavne, in the place called Yavne, Amar lem Rabban Gamliel lechachamim, Rabban Gamliel told the sages, Klum yesh adam sheyodea letaken birkat haminim? Is there anybody who could make this bracha, birkat haminim? Birkat haminim, laminim v'lamalshinim, those who betray God and those who do all these wonderful things. It's a very terrible bracha, right? Is there anybody who can do so? I mean, I don't understand. Well, what's the problem to do something? Get a script writer, and he'll write to you this thing, and you should be okay, right? And let's sit down, let's take a vote. Everybody thinks. So, Amad Shmuel HaKatan said, and he stood up, and he said this bracha. That's in Barachot. Very good. Chavchet, very good. Amud? Bet. I'm proud of this guy. Amud Bet. So Rabban Gamliel was a visionary person. He had a vision, but he wasn't a person of script and titles and writing all this thing, right? He's like almost like a president that has a vision, but he needs somebody to actually put this very good speech to him, and he really need what's so-called Shimon HaPekuli. Hashem. Of the name of Pekuli, probably most likely indicates also his name, that he was selling cotton, I guess, so that's why it was. But for whatever reason, this guy Shimon HaPekuli was not appropriate to fix that bracha as well, so he didn't do it. And which is Birkat Haminim. You should understand, Birkat Haminim came mainly, if you know historically, pay attention, Rebs, historically, it came to remove from the core of Am Yisrael the early Christians. And so on and so forth. And Shmuel HaKatan was the one who volunteered and fixed this bracha, and therefore, what was so special about Shmuel HaKatan? What's so special? Why him and not somebody else? So Rav Kook pays attention to a memra that it says in Pirkei Avot. Shmuel HaKatan Omer. Shmuel HaKatan says, based on Mishlei Chav Dalet. Binfol oivecha al tismach. When your enemies are fallen, don't rejoice. Uvechishlo al yagel levavcha. And don't be overjoyed with your enemies are defeated and when they are falling down in front of you. Why? Penireh Hashem vera be'einav. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu might see it, and that's going to be bad in his eyes. In other words, when you go to a war, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was very graceful and kind to you, and he gave you a... למה מחילה? ברוך הבא, ברוך הבא, ברוך הבא. זה בסדר, אין בעיות, מותק, הכל בסדר, ברוך השם. So, בוא שב איתנו קצת. אני לא יודע איפה איתן. אני אתפוס את האיתן הזה. להתראות, אייזיק. So he said, so, you know, don't make parades and don't show the bodies of your enemies out like this in the open. That's, by the way, what happened in Israel in 1967. After the glorious win that they had in 1967, they made parades. I remember as a kid seeing pictures of dead Egyptians. And Akadosh Baruch Hu doesn't like that. What we should have done was something simple. Establish Har HaBayit, the Temple Mount, as our place. That's it. Goodbye, good luck. Say Hallel, say Tehillim, fix the whatever needs to be fixed. I don't say build a temple, but you know, take control of that. Instead of that, we're paying today the prices of that. So, only a person that this is the rule of his life. He says, don't overjoy in the death of even your enemy. Only a person like that has this moral awareness inside of him, only a person like this could fix such a violent bracha and to operate the power that we have, that we got, in a very precise fashion, without any diversion to a animalistic brute urge. You need to think about that. And Araya Cook says, by us the problem is the opposite. Whoever did a violent action gets the bracha of shalom, right? And how is that? Right? We see somebody who is, especially, I mean, I really don't understand, especially when we have sports like boxing and stuff. I mean, it is a horrible thing. And I think one of the reasons why American football, I think out of the 50 most profitable teams in the world, you know, in terms of sports, I think the one sport that has the most profitable teams is American football. The number one most profitable team in the world is the Dallas Cowboys. And I think this is so powerful because it is an extreme violent game. When people knock people down, and with such sheer force. Yes, there's tremendous beauty to football, with throwing the ball, and the whole chess that is going on there. But the violence of it, and we love this, we praise that. And we got so confused that we don't know anymore right from wrong. And the Netziv from Volozhin writes, "Bischal sheiniach ka'aso v'chamato shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu beracho b'midat hashalom." Because he was able to calm HaKadosh Baruch Hu down. That's why he gives him birkat shalom. Why? Shelo yakpid velo yargiz. Because he didn't want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be angry at the Jews. In a way, right? He was basically sacrificing himself. He could have been put to death. He says, "I don't care if I'll die as long as Am Yisrael will not be punished." That's called dedication. He didn't do it to get a reward, a medal, or to get a title. He's a zealous guy. He knew HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not like that. So therefore he sacrificed himself for such a thing. And it says, the Volozhin, the Netziv says, ובשביל כי טבע המעשה שעשה פנחס להרוג נפש בידו, היה נותן להישאר בלב הרגש העז גם אחר כך. He says, usually when you expose yourself to such violent acts, even after this act is done, is over, some remnants of this violence will still live inside of you. and therefore it's a dangerous thing to do. And if you just pay attention, do a little survey, watch movies, war movies, westerns from the 50s. How, the guy goes, and it's so fake, and the way he dies, it's so fake, and all of a sudden you see just a blotch of tomato ketchup here, or something like that. It doesn't look real. There's no explosion like this. Everything is so, and that's okay, it's very entertaining. And later on in the 70s it became more, and in the 80s it became more, and in the 90s it became more, until you see a movie, I don't remember the movie, but it's a famous scene with Tom Hanks, with his fighting the Normandy battle, with the landing in Normandy. You see people Saving Private Ryan. The kishkes, all the guts are flying out. It's really gory. How do we get from John Wayne to this? And today is even worse. And the same thing about sexual hints. Whoa! If in a cat on a hot tin roof, we saw Marlon Brando finally, I think, wearing a wife beater instead of a t-shirt. Well, it wasn't. Wow, that was a big thing. That was considered to be a very today. I don't know. It all goes. It's all okay. Everything is fine. How do we get from there? Slowly. Why? Because you watch something, it stays in you. You watch something, it stays in you. So before you know, all of a sudden you become a cruel person. You expose kids to movies of killing and bloodsheds and so on and so forth. The kid will do that. It will not be a problem for him, because you're basically, what you're doing to the kid is you are brainwashing him. And you can't do that. That's why Chazal told us, "Vayu einecha ro'ot morecha." Always look at Talmidei Chachamim. Always look at people like that, so you'll be inspired by them, because you are also, prone to the environment and what is around you. It is impossible for you to live, let's say, for example, in Deer Park. Not Deer Park. Somewhere in Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan, right? Well, who knows what's going on there? First of all, they're probably going to cook you with a shish kebab, but you can't be at Tzaddik there for a long time. Eventually, you'll be corrupt together with them. The environment does something to you. So he needs that Brit Shalom to make sure that after his act, it's almost like we say an animal that killed a human, we kill it. Why? Because it tastes the human flesh. It will keep on eating only humans. Apparently, humans taste good. It will be only interested to become a manhunter, or bear, or tiger, or whatever that will be. If it ate a person, it's just going to keep on preying on humans. The same thing us. So here comes Pinchas, and he kills the nefesh. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is concerned that maybe in his heart there would be some remnants of that violent act as well. But because it was L'Shem Shamayim, he did so L'Shem Shamayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu helped him out, and he gave him the bracha, he gave him that blessing that is always going to be b'shalom. In other words, he's always going to be tranquilo. He's always going to be okay, in peace, and so on. There was a one-time act that it wasn't a natural thing. Pinchas is not known to be a violent person. It was a spontaneous act of concern because of an extreme situation. He wasn't a MMA fighter. He wasn't a UFC fighter. I don't know, whatever the people beat each other up to a pulp. He was a very kind guy who was not known for his great things and so on. I mean, one of the reasons we send also a Mashiach Milchama as a Kohen that goes with people to a war is to remind the people that, because he is a Geza, he is the descendant of Aharon Kohen. And Aharon was known for him to be a person of peace and compassion, and human compassion, to remind us, to help us not to get carried away after the things that might come up in war, all these dark areas inside of us that will come up throughout a battle. We need to watch out. That's why we have a person that goes with us as well, a Kohen. We never thought about it, but it's always like that. We need to counterbalance, otherwise we get carried away. That's why it's important, Rabotai, not to expose yourself and your children to all kind of sins of pornography, to all kind of sins of violence, and so on and so forth. I mean, if you're going to tell me that you're going to say, listen, Rabbi, say whatever you want to say, I need a fix of 2 hours a day to watch I don't know, TV. So instead of watching some kind of like a brutal thing, go watch documentaries, at least become smarter. But we don't want that. That's why I think the worst kind of movies to watch, by the way, are horror movies. They're the worst movies for your soul. Spiritually, these are the worst movies. What it does to your neshama is horrible.
It's called horror, that's why.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's horrible, yeah, it's horrible what it does to you. That's almost as bad as pornography. It's a thing that you should stay away from it like it's a plague. Stay away from it. Stay away from these things. And tell your kids no, and you should put filters, or if your kids watch TV, let's say you're one of those people, I don't know, your wife insists on having a TV at home, I don't know, whatever. She likes to watch Desperate Housewives. Make sure the TV is in a place either your kids cannot reach or you can watch them all the time. If you should not have a TV at home. Nothing. What are you going to learn? What is it going to give you? You're going to say what? You're going to learn what Trump said in Paris? Why do I care what he said in Paris? They're all a bunch of clowns anyway. You think there is a big difference between Trump and Obama and Clinton and this? They're all the same thing. They don't care. Anybody is doing anything for the education to give us more values, more virtues, more derech eretz, what we always like to say. Are we becoming more polite? We educating our kids better? No, so I don't care what they say anyway. It's all when you turn the TV on, you are now deliberately brainwashing yourself. Brainwashing cannot occur unless you are allowing it to occur to you. So when you turn the TV on, you're poisoning yourself. Go ahead and do that. You would not smoke because it's dangerous to you. Smoking, by the way, this should be the refuah shlema of my father, Gedalia Moreno ben Matilda, who unfortunately smoked for many years. So you won't smoke because it's bad for you. You won't take, crack or whatever is cholera is out there, but you're going to have TV? What's wrong with you? Oh no, I need to keep updated with what's going on. You don't need to keep updated, but you're such a big businessman. If you have such a big businessman, read the New York Times, what's his name, Wall Street Journal, or hire somebody who you don't need to listen to the news. Whatever happened in the news is too late. You're fooling yourself. You want to watch a movie? Go watch, I don't know, what's his name, Sound of Music. You ever watch Charlie Chaplin, Laurel Hardy, Abbott and Costello? That's good. You want to watch some action movie? Go watch, what's his name, High Chaparral, Bonanza. But you have to watch all these things. But you hold yourself so high. I mean, you don't know anything from anything anyway. You think about the point that you got to nowadays. Even your opinions are not your opinions anymore. Your opinions are not your opinions. Because you watch a certain channel all the time, all of a sudden you'll this. If you watch the other channel, you'll be that. And that's why he says to him, I'll give you your brit shalom, because I want you, your act was clean, your act of zealousy was clean from any personal things or from any bad things. I want you to make sure that you're going to stay clean like this in the future. You will calm and peaceful. I want to make sure that that act would not be a part of you. I don't want you to have any issues of post-traumatic stress disorder. And that's a big problem. That's why people come back. And why do Americans have more PTSD than let's say, I don't know, Afghanis and people like this? Or, I don't know, Iraqis or any Hajis over there that they behead people. Very simple. We have more morals than them. And our neshama is more sensitive. When you throw people off the roof of the 11th floor because the homosexuals, well, you know what? It doesn't do anything to you. You're a lost case. You're a lost case. There was a horrible movie and a book also, a book or a movie, one of those things in the 70s, Clockwork Orange, about this guy who was extremely violent. Well, that's what it is. We are Clockwork Orange workers sponsored by government and big TVs, you know, the things. And you have to have shalom. So there's a big problem here. So, and it says, because it was לשם שמיים, משום ככה באה הברכה שיהיה תמיד בנחת ושלום, ולא יהיה זה העניין לפוקת הלב. And that should be an issue in your heart. Vengeance, taking vengeance and killing could create in our heart also, or awaken in our hearts or in our soul, violence and power-hungry kind of you know, I mean, for example, a person cannot eat for a long time. All of a sudden, he eats something and becomes hungry. Ooh, now I'm hungry, but you just ate. Oh, now I'm hungry. Before you weren't so hungry. That's exactly what happens. So the bracha, according to the Netziv, is bracha shalom she'alev shelo yeh shalem, that his heart is going to be whole, that his heart is going to be in peace. In other words, besides the necessary action, his heart should stay as it was beforehand. A peaceful heart, not a violent, war-hungry heart. And this is also how the Netziv, by the way, explains the parasha of Ir HaNidachat. Ir HaNidachat is a whole entire city that was worshipping Avodah Zarah. So, and according to the Torah, our Torah, right, we have to kill them all. According to Torah Shebe'al Peh, right? It's a different din here altogether. But the Torah says something else. Our Torah says the following: "V'lo yedaber b'yadcha me'uma min ha'cherem." Don't take anything from the looting. Why? After you do what you need to do, because you came to do the mitzvah, leman yeshuv Hashem micharon apo, in order for Hashem not to be so angry with us. V'natan lecha rachamim, and He gave you mercy. V'richamcha, and He had pity and mercy on you. What do you mean He had mercy on me? What did I do? You know, there's Ir HaNidachat, let me kill them all, and so on and so forth. No, you can't go do what you need to do, but you don't take any looting. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu was very upset at Am Yisrael when they took from Midian stuff. Because now you went to war and nice earrings. Let me take this. 9 sheep. Let me take that.
But countless times when they went to war.
Excuse me?
Countless times when they went to war, they took the women, the sheep, and the kids.
When they were commanded, however, when they were commanded not to take anything, the same thing as Shmuel told Shaul, said, don't take anything. He took it. He said, I'll bring it to God. God did not ask you to do that. He didn't ask you to do that. When that was a milchemet mitzvah, you don't take anything. So here, and why is that? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu should re-implant mercy inside of you. Because right now you went in and you wiped up the whole entire city. You know, but when a Jew goes to war, the Jewish army goes to war, and then put a siege around the city, first of all you say, guys, I want to make peace. And also when you go, you don't cut fruit trees, and so on and so forth. I mean, did you read The Art of War? All this stuff is mentioned there. I don't need to read The Art of War. I have the Torah. I just need to understand what I'm reading. I don't need to read it as I'm doing it. I'm doing somebody a favor. I need it because there's tremendous wisdom in it. How should I operate? If you have an enemy or somebody that works against you and you are able to overcome him, are you not going to push him down, kill him all the way to the end? Or are you going to say, listen, let me help you out. I'm not that kind of a person. I'll help you out. Besides Amalek, that's where you commanded. And Amalek, you weren't commanded to kill. You commanded to erase his memory, not to kill it. Don't confuse it. Saying killing Amalek shows, not you, of course, Tzaddik, but saying killing Amalek means that there is some killing element inside of you. Maybe a person like this would not be able to go to Milchemet Mitzvah. Milchemet Mitzvah, who would go? The Tzaddikim, the Talmidei Chachamim, and so on and so forth. Because they need the heart clean. You're going to do a mitzvah, you can't do a mitzvah like this. On that, I can tell you something else. On that, Chazal told us something very, very mind-boggling. It's better to do mitzvah, avera lishma, masher mitzvah shelo lishma. It's a horrible thing. They say that. So you're going to a milchemet mitzvah. We're not going to kill Amalek. We're going to erase his memory. There's many ways to erase his memory. Not necessarily killing. Judaism is not a religion that spills blood. And you have to be careful not to turn yourself into a person like that. And the because the mercy that he has, you're going to be multiplied and fruitful as Hashem promised your forefathers. So on that pasuk, the Netziv says that against the din, in the opposite side of the Gzar Din Mavet, of this death penalty that we do by by the hangman or the person like that, we're not talking about here a war which is done by the army, because there is a chashash, there is a danger that there's going to be too much violence on that, and we're going to become too cruel. Therefore, the bracha v'natan lecha rachamim, he gives you rachamim. And the other, as a result of that, which is the hatred of the relatives of the people that lived in the city for them, right? Because they're going to say, "Oh, listen, those guys, they killed my relatives that live in the city." So for them to prevent them to take revenge on you, because you were merciful, because you did it lishma, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu come very chamcha, and He has mercy on you. And as the third result of that, right, is from the decline of population, right? Because there's less Jews in the world because we went to this kind of a vengeance. So therefore, there's the bracha v'irbecha, and now you're going to multiply. You're going to overcome that loss of the people. Well, but you have to understand that if Judaism is a non-violent religion, does not mean that Judaism says that you should never use force. Because you see that sometimes we have to go to war, and there is what we call milchemet mitzvah. And not always using force is good, but sometimes you have to use force. But the problem is we get so confused in today's day and age, in our times, right? We get so confused that we don't know right from wrong or right from left. Left is always wrong, right? But you know what I'm saying. For example, I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, become a doctor in medicine, right? Or security or anything like this, right? So there are some actions that you need, that you would define them as violence and as a crime, right? And sometimes the same act could be the most moral thing that a human can do to another person. The problem is that they can cause the person who does them to act in a uncontrolled way. That's what we say, that a rofeh, there's three people that have the same qualities. A doctor, who else? A killer, and a butcher. They have all midat achzariyut in them. Why? What happens if you take a knife? You take a knife and you cut somebody. Call the police. like this, right? Or like mujahideen over there, they stab people, they come into Yerushalayim, just go with knives to kill people. But then you have a doctor. What does a doctor do? A surgeon? What does he do?
Stabs with diploma.
He stabs you with a diploma and the bill later on. But he takes the knife and he cuts you open. But that use of knife and cutting you open is necessary to save your life.
And oil.
And a moil as well, yes. Or shochet. He takes an animal, shechts it. You're killing an animal. I need to eat. Okay. Again, I'm a vegan. I don't eat meat. But, you guys want to eat meat. Eat meat. Judaism gives you those limits, those boundaries in which you're going to eat according to, that's why we have shechita and we have to check and so on and so forth. Not to say, okay, because then we're going to become big carnivores. And that's what we are today. We lost our buoyancy. We're drifting down. So those things are needed, right? Or for example, if you have a soldier, right? Well, you take a soldier. If you have a guy, they take a gun, boom, you shoot somebody. Criminal, gun control, right? But you have a soldier or a policeman that comes to defend somebody, you give him a Medal of Honor. It's the same action, but in a different interpretation. You need to make sure that from being a good soldier, you don't become also a killer. You need to make sure that being a doctor who has compassion to people, you don't become this cold person that sees only ATM machines. For him, it's not patience, it's just money. You have to make sure. So, but again, in our times today, we many times criticize the people who do this kind of work, even if they do it appropriately. That's why in America, and you could tell this is a very confused times. In America, their soldiers are not welcome when they come back from war. And it was always a bizarre thing for me. If I see a soldier, a while ago, when we were across the street, saw a soldier, wearing uniform, and Sam, don't let us keep you up. And he was looking for coins to put in the thing. So I said to him, "Here, may I?" He says, "Thank you so much." I said, "How much?" He said, "No, I'm sorry." I said, "Here, I put 4 quarters in the machine." I said, "Take your time, it's okay." It's a gratitude. We are very, very confused. You have a soldier, a guy comes with a knife, like it happens in Israel. A guy comes with a knife, you shoot him, you kill him, all of a sudden, you acted with too much violence. What do you mean I acted with too much? What's your, excuse me, can you please put the knife down? The guy is stabbing you, please. Those Europeans, they're out of the mind. And some Israelis, that they want to be like Europeans, they're not wusses, they're just morons. It's doing a good act. You have a doctor who does something, sue him. A friend of mine was a doctor. So he had to deliver a baby, and the baby was stuck. In order to deliver the baby, he had to dislocate his shoulders to pull the baby out. Otherwise, guess what? Bye mommy, bye baby. So he did so. You know what the parents did? They sued him. Maybe he shouldn't have. But there will be that. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know what to do. We don't know what's right and wrong anymore. And therefore we have a problem with that. And we expose ourselves to such thing, and it becomes a huge, huge problem. This confusion that we have is a problem. So therefore we need to have a special systems in place of training, of education, that it's the purpose is really cutting down like a laser those good midot, those good qualities, and purifying the ability of force, or those who hold force, to keep the appropriate boundaries of force, of using force, without going into becoming killers or abusing of that power that we're giving to us. And that's the whole problem that we have with policemen. I mean, many policemen, listen, to be a policeman is a horrible job. It's a very difficult job. Everybody hates you. But everybody hates you for a reason. Sometimes, not always, sometimes. Why? Because many of them abuse the power that we're given to them. You give any idiot uniform, he already feels in control. Doesn't make a difference. He's just a security guard who opens the doors and closes the door for you. You put uniform on him, he has the power. Now imagine when I put uniform on him and I put him a gun. Whoa, how do we do that? The problem that we have, all these problems with policemen and so on and so forth, is because we don't have an appropriate education system that educates the people appropriately with proper values. And that is the problem. Why should I, as a policeman, stop a person just because he's black? Why? If the guy did some kind of a traffic violation, okay, stop him over, please. But pull him over just because he did the violation, not because of the color of his skin. What kind of thing is that? So you can say, argument's sake, more black people do more of the traffic violations. Fine, let's say it's true. But did this guy do anything wrong? No, you stopped him just because he's black. Guess what? You're abusing the power. If a guy is not an imminent threat to you, why are you killing him? So today is blacks, tomorrow is Jews. For that you'll be okay? Where were you until now? Why didn't you cry about it? Oh, you're suspicious. You look Jewish. I see your crooked nose over there. Come here. Let me measure you. Like they did, right? You don't know what the Nazis did to us. Oh, let me see. Turn around. You look Jewish. I'm not Jewish. It's okay. You look Jewish. Suspicious. There was a movie written on a true event that happened. It was, I don't know, from the 80s. It's called Europe. How there's a story of a true story of a person. We cannot have that. That's why there's no peace. That's why we're always on an edge. That's why we're not polite. And the same thing, Rabotai, goes, for example, to when you having cars. You have power. You have a car. I don't know what happened today. Everybody was like, because of the heat, people were driving like lunatics. I mean, cutting dangerously. And that all comes from improper education, not having good qualities, not knowing the areas in which we should operate. In any time, Rabotai, in any time and any decade, and especially in our times, there are people who would come and preach and they will talk about the name of Hashem and so on and so forth, and will take to their hands the authority to become zealous. And the question is like this: is their personality is such? Do they have the proper qualities? Is the humanistic level? Are they humane at all? Is their moral level is as such that they are first of all appropriate to be called or to be granted with the covenant of peace? Before you become a zealous person, you need to be a person of peace, a person with morals, an appropriate person. Otherwise, you're fascist. You're no different than the Nazis. Zealousy, Judenraus. To advocate, to throw stones at another Jew. Why is this Jew driving on Shabbat? Maybe because you didn't educate them appropriately. Maybe you act in such a way that he looks at you and says, I don't want to be like this. This is all corrupt. You can't call yourself a zealous when you use the system from within. You corrupt as just like anybody else. You're not allowed to carry the badge of zealousy to Hashem, because that's the difference between Pinchas and Eliyahu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Eliyahu, The Midrash tells us, who were you a kane? Who were you zealous to? To me or to you? You're not appropriate to be that man. Go over there. Go call Elisha. He's going to be the person who's going to lead this, not you. So Eliyahu, go work on yourself. You're going to be Malach HaBrit, Malach HaShalom, but you're going to need to work on yourself. You're not the one. But only a person that has this quality inside of him, and that's his essence. Internally, he worked on himself. He's a person of peace, not a person who always likes to. And that's the problem with Lashon Hara, Rabotai. Ari, this guy, what he told me. Then you go to him. Yosef, what he told. Always mechacher, madon, stirring the pot. People like this are very miserable people. A person like this is not allowed to be zealous. He's wearing a crown which he's not allowed to wear. Did you work on yourself first? Do you really concern with your avodat Hashem? Do you really love any Jew? Are you doing the mitzvot because HaKadosh Baruch Hu told you that? Or because your neighbor will look at you? Or because he'll give you kavod? Ooh, look at this guy. If nobody would see you, you'll be on an island alone. Will you still do the same thing as you do now? Will you keep the mitzvot? Will you still be God-fearing person? What is HaKadosh Baruch Hu asking for you, as Micha says? You have to have mishpat. You have to have chesed, kindness. And to be humble with God. Not to wear the name of God as a badge of honor. Nobody gave it to you. Lehavdil, you know what it will be like? If you're going to buy a trident of a SEAL, a Navy SEAL, and you put it on yourself here, and you're going to go to a bar somewhere, in California or something where the Navy SEALs are, they're going to beat you up to a pulp. They're going to make you eat that thing. You didn't earn it. And that's the danger of being zealous. That's the danger of being fanatic. So, if a person is not, and that's what they say, the same thing as we say, who are you supposed to learn Torah from? Right? Im ra'ita shu k'mo malach Hashem tzevakot, a person is like malach, learn Torah from him. Lama? What's the connection? Because only a person that has the midot, which is Baal Brit Shalom, is like Malach Hashem. He's like Malach Hashem Muzawi. Why? Because Talmid Chacham marbim Shalom ba'olam. Shene'emar, Bechol Banayich Limudei Hashem, V'Rav Shalom Banayich, and so on and so forth. Talmidei Chachamim marbim Shalom ba'olam. So if you see two people who call themselves Talmidei Chachamim and they're fighting with each other, they are not Talmidei Chachamim because they need to bring peace in the world, not hate in the world. And probably they're not Talmidei Chachamim because for sure you shouldn't learn from them. And therefore, if you are appropriate and you worked on yourself and your midot, and you are a person of peace and a rodef shalom and so on and so forth, and therefore you call malach hashalom. You could be called a angel of peace, an angel of the covenant. However, if not, you are called a murderer. It's the same act. It's a totally different intent. So, Rabotai, focus yourself up. Clean your mind. Start developing an opinion of your own. Don't listen to all those things that people tell you. On radios, and TVs, and media. I do have to say, Trump is right. It's all fake news. He's fake too, because he's a part of the news. Now, you should not be watching those things. You should not be involved with this. There's a lot of work for us to do. There are kids who need foster homes. There are homeless people you need to help. There's plenty to work on yourself. Drive like a person. Act like a person. You see two people fighting, bring peace to them. Always try to solve the problems, not to create the problems. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will have mercy on you. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give you mercy. And this is how you're going to be truly multiplying fruitful. So pay attention and Shabbat Shalom.